The pastor cleared his throat. Shall we begin? But Kenneth wasn't listening. His eyes were still fixed on Mirabel and the children. At her seat, Josephine whispered, "Do you want to leave now?" Mirabel shook her head. "No, we will stay till the end." Her voice was calm. Her heart was at peace. He wasn't there to destroy anything. She was there to be seen, to show that she was not the problem. The once loud hall had gone silent. The music had stopped. The laughter was gone. Some girls held their phones mid-air. Others whispered behind fans, while some simply stared at the woman who walked in like the wind had changed direction. Mirabel sat at the front, exactly where Kenneth had planned for her to sit, but not the way he imagined. She wasn't crying. She wasn't bitter. She sat with calm pride, glowing in red like a rising flame. Her boys sat beside her, playing quietly. One held a toy car. The other whispered to each other and smiled. "That is Mirabel," a woman in green lace whispered behind her fan. "She had children?" a man beside her asked. "They look like her, but not like him," someone else said. "Let's see how it ends," another ended. At the altar, the pastor cleared his throat again. "Shall we begin the ceremony?" Kenneth stood beside Jennifer but wasn't hearing anything. Jennifer leaned closer and whispered, "Who is that woman with those boys?" Kenneth blinked. "That is Mirabel." "Your ex-wife?" He nodded slowly. "And those children?" Kenneth said nothing. Jennifer's eyes widened. "You told me she was barren." "I thought she was," Kenneth stammered. "You thought?" Jennifer's voice rose. "You said she couldn't have children. You said that is why you left her." "I believe it. That is what the doctors—" "What doctors?" she snapped. "You never showed me any results. You refused to get tested yourself." Kenneth rubbed his head, sweating under the light. "Jennifer, please, can we talk after this?" "No," she said firmly. "We will talk now because everyone is watching." She turned to Mirabel. "Please, forgive me for asking this, but are those boys your children?" Mirabel stood up slowly. She carried her youngest in her arms. "Yes," she said clearly. "They are my sons." The hall went quiet again. She looked at Kenneth, her voice calm but firm. "You called me barren, Kenneth. You threw me out and watched me cry. You said I was cursed. You made me feel less than a woman, but I wasn't the problem." The crowd gasped softly. "You never agreed to be tested," she continued. "You said it was always me, but God showed the truth, and he gave me not one child, but 3. Kenneth stood frozen. His lips trembled. Jennifer turned to him slowly. "So you lied. You ruined her name. You destroyed her. And all this time, it was you?" "I didn't know," Kenneth whispered. "I didn't mean to. You didn't care," Jennifer cut in sharply. "You just wanted someone to blame." She took a step back from him, shaking her head. "I can't marry you, Kenneth," she said, her voice breaking. "Not today, not ever." The crowd gasped again. The pastor quietly stepped back. The music stopped. The wedding was over, and Mirabel just sat there, peaceful, shining. The woman they once called barren, now living proof that God still writes better stories than people's lies. The choir sat down. The camera lights dimmed. Kenneth tried to reach for Jennifer's hand. "Jennifer, please, don't do this here," he whispered. He looked at him one last time, her eyes filled with pain. "You are not ready for love," she said quietly. "You are still stuck in your pride. I deserve better." She dropped her bouquet on the stage and walked out of the hall. Her bridesmaid rushed after her. Kenneth stood frozen, eyes wide, breathing hard. The room spun. Guests began whispering loudly. "That man is barren," one woman muttered. "So it was all his fault all along," another added. "And he wanted to disgrace her. Imagine." Kenneth's knee felt weak. His heart pounded. Mirabel stood up quietly from her seat and began walking out of the hall too. Her three boys followed beside her. She didn't look back. She didn't shout. She didn't gloat. She walked like a queen, calm, graceful, with truth wrapped around her like a royal robe. Josephine met her at the door. "Mirabel, you did it. You showed them the truth," Josephine said, smiling through tears. Mirabel shook her head gently. "I didn't do it to prove anything. I just came to be seen." They stepped toward the private jet waiting nearby. The door opened smoothly and the bright daylight reflected off the red gown that hugged Mirabel perfectly. The pilot stood at attention as the boys climbed in beside her. Josephine followed behind, glancing once more at the crowd staring from afar. Inside the jet, Mirabel held her boys close. "Are you okay, Mommy?" one of them asked. She smiled warmly. "Yes, my love, I'm more than okay." Back at the wedding hall, Kenneth sat alone on the stage. His white agbada looked too big now. His crown felt too heavy. The drink were still cold, the food untouched, but the joy was gone. Daniel, his best man, walked up slowly. "Bro, what now?" he asked quietly. Kenneth didn't reply. He just stared at the door Jennifer had run through, the same door his light had opened. For the first time in his life, he felt truly alone. He sat on the edge of the stage, eyes empty. The once lively hall was now silent. Even the waiters packed trays quietly. He rubbed his face, whispering, "What just happened? How did everything fall apart in one day?" Daniel came and sat beside him, looking tired and disappointed. "Kenneth," he said softly. Kenneth didn't answer. Daniel sighed. "You didn't see that coming, did you?" Still no reply. Daniel continued. "She came with triplets, bro. Triplets, and the whole world was there to see it." Kenneth's head dropped into his hands. "I planned that wedding for months," he muttered. "I know," Daniel replied. "You invited her to sit there and watch you move on." Kenneth's voice cracked. "She came not broken, not bitter, but with 3 sons. Daniel nodded. "Yeah, and now everyone knows the truth." Kenneth swallowed hard. "How is that possible? She never got pregnant when we were together." Daniel looked at him seriously. "Did you ever get tested?" Kenneth froze. "I didn't need to. She was the one without a child." Daniel turned sharply. "Says who? You? Your mother? Gossip? You just assumed." Kenneth's eyes filled with tears. "She never argued. She accepted it. Because she loved you," Daniel said quietly. "She was loyal. She didn't want to fight." Kenneth covered his face with both hands. "She begged me not to leave. She said we could still try. I called her curse. I told her to get out." Daniel sighed deeply. "Now the truth is staring you in the face, and the whole world saw it." Outside, cameras flashed. Social media was already exploding. Videos from the wedding spread fast. Mirabel steps out of a private jet in a red gown with triplets. Jennifer walks out of her own wedding. Hashtag Mirabel's returns. Hashtag triplet at the wedding. Hashtag Kenneth exposed. Some comments mocked him. Some were angry. But one thing was clear. Kenneth was trending for the wrong reason. That night, back at Mirabel's house, Josephine sat on the couch scrolling through her phone. "Listen to this one," she said, laughing softly. "This woman is a true queen. She didn't shout. She didn't fight. She just showed up with God's answers." Mirabel smiled gently as she felt the boys. "I didn't do it for the world to clap. I just wanted him to see." Josephine looked up. "Well, now he has seen, and not just him. Everybody." Mirabel lifted one of her sons onto her lap and asked softly, "Do you think he feels anything?" "Oh, he feels it," Jennifer said. "Pride doesn't protect anyone from disgrace." Just then, there was a knock on the door. Mirabel turned. Who could that be? Josephine stood up. "Let me check." She opened the door and froze. Her eyes widened. "Kene," she whispered. Mirabel turned slowly, placing the baby in the walker. Kene walked in. He looked nothing like the man from the wedding. His shirt was untucked, his eyes red, his lips dry. He held his cap in his hands like a schoolboy about to beg for forgiveness. "Mirabel," he said softly. She didn't answer. He looked around and saw the children playing. One of them looked up and smiled. "Hi, Uncle." Kene's chest tightened. "I didn't come to cause trouble," he said quietly. "I just needed to see you, to say something." Mirabel folded her arms, her face calm. "I ruined everything," Kene said, eyes on the floor. "I judged you wrongly. I insulted you. I let pride blind me." Silence filled the room. He took one step closer. "I believe I was right. I told the world you were barren. I didn't even test myself. I just assumed." Mirabel finally spoke. "And that assumption destroyed our marriage." Kene nodded slowly. "I know. I see it now. I was foolish. I let ego control me. I didn't protect you. I shamed you." Her voice was steady. "You didn't just shame me, Kene. You crushed me. You made me feel worthless." Tears rolled down his cheeks. "I'm sorry. I don't deserve forgiveness, but I had to come. I was wrong. I hurt the only woman who ever truly loved me." Mirabel looked at him quietly, tears glistening in her own eyes. He continued softly, "I saw the way you walked into that wedding. Peaceful, strong. You didn't shout. You didn't curse. You just let the truth speak. You are a great mother." He bowed his head. "I'm sorry." The room stayed silent for a few seconds. Mirabel took a deep breath. "Stand up," she said gently. He looked up slowly. "You are not angry?" She shook her head. "I was angry for years, but now I'm free." Kenneth stood up slowly. "Thank you for listening." "You should get tested," she added. "Not for me, for your future." He nodded. "I already did this morning." Mirabel raised her brow, and he looked ashamed. "The doctor confirmed it. I'm the one with the issue. Low sperm count, possibly from an infection I ignored years ago." Mirabel blinked. "So all those years?" "Yes," he said quietly. "It was me." There was a long pause. Then Mirabel spoke softly but firmly. "I don't hate you. I have moved on. God gave me a second chance." Kene nodded slowly. "I know, and you deserve everything good. I'm glad you are happy." He turned to leave. "Kene," she called. He stopped. "I forgive you," she said simply. His shoulders dropped with relief. "Thank you." He walked out silently, closing the door behind him. Josephine came beside Mirabel and whispered, "You are stronger than I will ever be." Mirabel gave a faint smile. "I'm not strong, Josephine. I just healed." The next morning, Kene woke up to another storm. His company has taken a hit. Some investors had quietly pulled out. He had hundreds of messages waiting from family, from staff, from bloggers. But the one that broke him the most was a message from Jennifer. "Don't try to call me. I have gone back to Lagos. Find peace within yourself. I hope you finally learn." He sat on the edge of his bed, phone trembling in his hand. Everything he had built, gone. But strangely, his chest felt lighter. Maybe this was what it meant to be truly humbled. Meanwhile, at Mirabel's home, peace flowed like calm water. Gabriel had returned from his business trip and hugged her tightly the moment he stepped in. I saw the clips online, he said softly. You walked in like a lioness, Mirabel chuckled. It wasn't easy, Gabriel smiled. I'm proud of you, but more than that, I'm happy you stood up for yourself. She looked at her three boys sleeping on the floor, their small chests rising and falling in peace. They don't understand what happened, she said quietly, but one day they will, and I will tell them everything, the full story. Gabriel nodded, and I will be right beside you when you do. They stood together in that quiet living room, hand in hand, no bitterness, no anger, just peace. 1 month passed since the wedding that never happened. The video clips were still all over social media. The headlines refused to die down. Everyone has moved on, except Kene. He was no longer the admired man everyone respected. He no longer walked into boardrooms like a king. He didn't laugh with his workers or crack jokes like before. His office felt cold, quiet, empty. Some staff has resigned. Others stayed but whispered when he passed. No one looked him straight in the eye anymore. But the worst part, he had lost himself. He couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. He replayed everything over and over in his mind. Mirabel's calm walk into the wedding, the three boys, Jennifer dropping her bouquet and walking out, and the bitter truth that followed. He was the one with the problem all along. He sat at his desk, staring at the fertility test result. Low sperm count, low motility. Patient advised to begin treatment immediately. The words hit him like stones. Years of pride, years of blame, years of tears he caused. His phone buzzed again. Another blog post. Former business tycoon faces downfall after ex-wife shocking wedding appearance. He dropped the phone and buried his face in his palms. Just then, the office door opened slowly. His mother stepped in, her eyes tired, her voice weak. She had seen everything online too. Kene, she said softly, sitting across from him. I came to talk. He nodded, not looking up. I know what you will say, Mama. She sighed. You were wrong. We were both wrong. Kene lifted his eyes slowly. I pushed you, she continued. I told you Mirabel was the problem. I told you to marry Jennifer, but I never once asked if we were fair. Kenneth swallowed hard. Mama, you helped me chase her out. I know, she whispered, her voice shaking, and I will never forgive myself for that. Silence filled the office. You could almost hear the ticking clock. Have you spoken to her again? She asked. I went to see her, Kenneth said softly. She forgave me. His mother blinked back tears. She always had a big heart, even after everything. She is not coming back, Kenneth added. She is happy now. She has a real family. His mother lowered her head. God gave her beauty for ashes, she whispered, and will destroy something pure. Kenneth said nothing. He just looked down at his palms, empty now. His crown was gone. Meanwhile, in another part of town, Mirabel was in the kitchen, stirring okra soup while humming quietly. Her boys were watching cartoons, their laughter echoing through the house. Gabriel was fixing the kitchen tap. Babe, Gabriel called out, holding a wrench. Remind me again, do we still have crayfish? Mirabel smiled. Yes, in the blue container, second shelf. Gabriel laughed. You have arranged this kitchen like a science lab. They both chuckled. that laughter, it was the sound of peace. Later that night, as they sat down to eat, one of the triplets looked up and said, "Mommy, when we grow up, we will also be famous like you." Mirabel laughed. "Who said I'm famous?" "The people on the internet," the second boy said, licking soup from his fingers. "They were shouting your name." Mirabel smiled and looked at Gabriel. "You will grow up knowing your story," she told them softly. "But more than that, you will grow up knowing your worth." Gabriel nodded. "And knowing how strong your mother is." A few days later, Josephine came into Mirabel's restaurant with a letter in her hand. "It is for you," she said, handing it over. Mirabel opened it carefully. It was short, typed and signed at the bottom. "Thank you for your strength. Thank you for your forgiveness. You taught me a lesson I will never forget. I lost a good woman, and I hope one day your sons will know how proud they should be. I wish you peace, Kene." She folded the letter gently and placed it in her drawer. No tears, no anger, just peace. Back in Kene's compound, things were not the same. His neighbors no longer looked at him with admiration. Some pitied him, some laughed behind his back. The gardener didn't greet him cheerfully anymore. The security man no longer rushed to open the gate. He had become the disgraced groom. One evening, Kene stood before his mirror and stared at his reflection. "Who are you now?" he whispered. "What did your pride gain you?" No answer, just the silence of a man who finally saw himself. He looked at the window and said quietly, "I destroyed the woman who loved me, and now I'm alone." But far away, the woman he once broke was whole again. She had found joy, she had found love, she had found purpose. And she had three beautiful reminders that what others once called barrenness, God has turned into overflow.